We're doing it by completing the square. Is everybody ready? ¿Por qué no? Alright, please open your Flappy. Now, we have a formula that we're going to use to complete the square every single time. Ay, already? You're lazy. Alright, so the formula that we use every single time. Yo también. I'll focus. Alright, so if we have x squared plus bx, we are looking for c. So remember, our goal each time is to get it in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. This is our goal. And what do we want c to be? We just talked about it a second ago. A perfect square. Take a point. It's next door. And they feel like they need to yell into the intercom. So the way we do that, the way we find the perfect square, the way we find c, is we do b divided by 2 quantity squared. That's how you create a perfect square trinomial. So you take whatever b is, you divide it by 2, and then you square it. Now this can turn into x plus b divided by 2 squared. So if b was 10, what's 10 divided by 2?
5.
And what's 5 squared? 25. So our c would be 25. And then right here, what would we write? Would we write 25 or would we just write 5? Just 5 because it's 10 divided by 2. Are we ready to practice?
Yeah.
You're not ready to practice? Okay. Alright, open the first one where we're going to complete the square. So all we're going to do first is just practice finding c and then writing it as a binomial. So that's all we're doing to begin with. So we're can't get my words out. We're finding c, which is this. And then we're writing it in this form right here. So if you want to label that this is c, I think that might be helpful. Is everybody ready? Alright, so we're looking for c. We have x squared plus 12x plus, and how do we find c? We divide by what? We do b divided by 2. And what is b? 12. Good, take a point. So we do 12 divided by 2 squared. How did you get 36? Good. Alright, so 12 divided by 2, take a point. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36, so you have x squared plus 12x plus 36. Now, what is the other way that they wanted us to write it? Quantity squared. Good. So is it going to be x plus 36, or are we going to do just b divided by 2? What's on the inside right here? B divided by 2. So what's b divided by 2? Ham sandwich, children. What's 12 divided by 2? 6. And boom, you're done. Now, where did this 36 come from? 12 divided by 2 squared. Where did this 6 come from? Just 12 divided by 2. Yes. I can't write on this. Does everybody understand where we got our numbers from? Are you sure? Does anybody not understand? Because you need to speak now. Thank you. Okay. I am. Or just the next problem. Are you sure? Okay. So remember, we're trying to find c. We have x squared plus bx. And to find c, we do b divided by 2 quantity squared. Right? So we're trying to find c, which is this. So I would write it as x squared minus 6x plus b divided by 2 quantity squared. So what's my b here? Negative 6 divided by 2 quantity squared. Why did you get positive 9? We're just muttering. Say it with confidence. Say it with your chest. Yes. So we have x squared minus 6x plus 9. Because you have negative 6 divided by 2, which is negative 3, and then negative 3 squared is positive 9. Now, how else do we need to write it? Are we done, or do we have to write it as a binomial? Binomial. And remember, the binomial is just x plus b divided by 2 squared. Alright, so it's just what's inside our parentheses here. What's negative 6 divided by 2? So it's just x minus 3 squared. Dun, da, da, da. That's it. Do you think you could try 2 without me? ¿Por qué no? Now you ready? Okay. I'm going to give Eric a minute. He's actually writing his notes down. Super proud. Are you ready? Okay. Alright, I'm going to write these on the back. This is 40B. Example 1C. Alright, x squared plus 18x plus c x squared minus 24x plus c. Try those 2 without me. Alright, I got x squared plus 18x plus 81.
Alright.
And x plus 9 quantity squared.
All I need to do.
And then x squared minus 24x plus 144. And x minus 12 quantity squared. Did y'all get that? Can we use some words and tell me how we did?
Good.
We did okay?
I got it.
I want to know where you got that thing.
The problem.
It was a gift.
Why does the problem look much longer on the actual tan sheet? Homework, like right here. I'm supposed to that's how you made it short and stuff like that in my head.
No, I did the same thing.
No, see, like on this.
Oh, I just didn't write all the steps out.
Okay, so you don't have to write all the steps out.
If you can do 18 divided by 2 squared in your head, then
Oh.
But not everybody can. Like,
I can't do nothing about it.
that is a true statement. That is a true statement. All right, I want you to do 2 more. What do you notice about the numbers this time?
They positive. I don't see nothing wrong. I don't see nothing wrong.
There's not anything wrong. But what do you notice about B this time? You're going to get a decimal when you divide. Why are you going to get a decimal when you divide? Yes, take a point. Because this is odd and this is odd. I need you to be able to identify odd and even numbers by this point in your mathematical career. Just to let you know. Good luck. May the force be with you. All right, check your work against mine.
Got that right?
Most of you lied. Most of you, I checked your work, but if I didn't come around and look at your paper. So this time we got decimals because 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. And 5.5 squared is 30.25, so that's what C is. Here, 17 divided by 2 gave us negative 8.5, so that's why we got this. And then squared gave us 72.25. See? Gracias. All right, now we're going to use this to solve a quadratic. And the way we solve a quadratic is we find where the graph crosses the x-axis, or we can use completing the square. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
So we're trying to find what x equals on the second part. Open the flappy. Now, we're still going to do the same thing that we've been doing, where we try to find c. And normally, when we graphed it, we moved 15 over because we wanted it to be equal to 0, right? Jorge, get off your phone. This time we don't want it equal to... Don't look around like it's not you on your phone. This time we don't want it equal to 0. We want x squared and bx by itself. Now, are x squared and bx by itself? Are they alone on one side of the parentheses? Yes. And then this number is over here. So this is how we want it to look. And the reason is 15 a perfect square? No. So we don't care about 15 right now. Is everybody ready to see what magic is going to happen? No. You're going to complete the square, which means you're going to write it as x squared minus 14x. And to complete the square, what did we do?
Square divided.
Divided by 2. Good. And then we... Good. Squared it. All right. Take a point. So we would do negative 14 divided by 2 squared. Now, do you remember when we were solving equations, what we did to one side we have to do to the other? You still have to do that. So if we did negative 14 divided by 2 squared on the left, we have to do the same thing on the right. So all we did at first was complete the square. And then we completed the square over here as well. Is everybody with me? Yes, no, maybe so. Are we sure? Ludwin, are you with me? Muchas gracias. All right, what is negative 14 divided by 2?
Negative 7.
And what's negative 7 squared? We're past that point.
Negative 49.
Positive 49. But good, take a point. Both of you take a point. Equals 15 plus 49. Now, what did we turn our trinomials into up here? We wrote it 2 ways. We wrote it as the trinomial and a binomial. Good. You're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go from our trinomial to our binomial. And what are we going to write instead of 49? 7, yes. Positive 7 or negative 7? Negative 7, because it's negative 14 divided by 2, so that's negative 7. And what's 15 plus 49?
64.
64.
Thank you, baby. Am I done? Do I know what x is?
No.
Does anybody remember how we get rid of the square? Fractionando. No.
Ah,
Factorización, dividir.
64. No.
When we were listing our perfect squares at the beginning, and we said 1, 4, 9, 16, how did we get 1, 2, 3, 4? Magic?
Perfect square.
What she just said was, when we listed our perfect squares at the beginning, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, how do you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of that? You don't divide.
Square.
Multiplicando.
You square these to get this. But how do you go backwards?
Oh, divide.
Reduce. Parábola.
It starts with an S.
Geometric.
It's 2 words.
Primer-
Square root! Take a point. Thank you, Miss Brister, for saving the day. Okay, children. When you're getting rid of a squared, you take the square root. So when you're simplifying your perfect squares, you take the square root. So we're going to take the square root of both sides. And we're going to have 2 answers. It's going to be magic. Now the squared goes away, and you're left with what's inside. So it's x minus 7. And when you take the square root, you're going to have a positive or a negative 8. Now, who can tell me why they think it could be negative 8?
Because
Yes, Damien, please tell me why you think it's going to be negative 8, boo-boo.
minus 7.
Boy, I want you to tell me why you think it's going to be negative 8, not just read the problem back to me.
Oh. No, it's not going to be negative, it's going to be positive. I got you. Because square root of 64 is x minus 7. So
Ignore this part. I want y'all to tell me why it could be positive 8 or negative 8.
I know the answer. What's your point? I'll call it. Exactly. Anyway, I'll call it. Like that.
Guys, what is 8 times 8?
64.
What is negative 8 times negative 8?
Positive.
Positive 64. So they both equal 64 when you multiply them. You have to have 2 answers. You have to have the positive version and the negative version. So then when you set it up, you say x minus 7 equals 8, x minus 7 equals negative 8. How would I solve that?
Mando.
Plus 8.
Plus 7.
8.
Plus 7.
Ah,
Thank you, Reggie. And you get 15. And then you add 7 and you get... I don't know what we huffing and puffing for. I'm sorry that I'm making you add. Like, good grief.
Hey, man, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying it.
You're not doing anything.
Write them down. I got that whole little snow.
Lies, lies. So what are our answers?
X equals 15, X equals negative 1. Question.
Answer.
How did you get 48 again? That's,
Where do you see 48, Boo?
I mean, not 48, 49.
What is negative 14 divided by 2? Use a calculator.
I don't have one. I said 7.
And what's 7 squared? 49.
40, oh my God.
That's where the 49 came from. So the first thing we did was we completed our square, and we did it on both sides, right? So we did b divided by 2 quantity squared, b divided by 2 quantity squared. Then we actually worked it out and we got 49. So negative 14 divided by 2 gave us negative 7. Negative 7 squared gave us 49. 49. Then we know that we can turn this into this because that's what we've been doing. All we did was factor. It's the same thing. How did we get rid of our squared? What are those yellow things called? Square root. Good. Both of you take a point. And so we have x minus 7 equals positive or negative 8. We broke it down into x minus 7 equals 8. X minus 7 equals negative 8. Your homework tonight is to get the first 3 steps for this one. Just the first 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Don't go any further. Just 1, 2, 3 for this one. Yep. First 3 steps.